For those who don't know me, there's some new faces in here. My name is Bill Kennemer. I am the White Center Community Crime Prevention Deputy. It's not the storefront anymore. The storefront is at Steve Cox Memorial Park in the Caretaker's College. So my job is taking care of the neighborhood problems. Anybody else? So I'll go over these stats right quick, and then we'll get into a couple other things, and we'll try and make it as quick as we can. There's no really pretty way to say it. We had a significant increase in violent crime last month. I don't think anybody's surprised about me saying that. There's been quite a bit of talk about it being gang related, and I asked Detective Joe Gagliardi, who is right now our only gang detective. Our gang unit was actually advertised today for another detective and a detective sergeant. But right now it's a dude. And he's busy. And I asked him to do a presentation next week to the Block Watch, White Center Block Watch. And he told me that he can't do it because he is on executive protection duty next week. So what I asked him was, I said, hey, somebody's got to do it. He's part of the criminal intelligence division. So I asked him if he could come do a presentation, and if he can't, send me the cliff notes, because I know he's busy. And he says, I can't. Here's some cliff notes. So I'm going to read it just so, I'm going to read it verbatim. Because it's going to make you all feel better. I'm going to skip the unfortunately I can't, I've got executive protection. But this is what he says, but if it makes it easier, none of the recent White Center shootings that I'm aware of are gang related or gang motivated. Gang-like behavior to be sure, but don't involve any of our known gangs or gang members. And that's right from Joe. So, I hope that makes people feel better about, as far as the gang. It doesn't do any good for the people who got shot in SARS the other day. And
what day was that?
Saturday, Monday.
I think it was the day I tried to call non-emergency and they said, nope, we're busy.
I don't know, and the detective isn't talking because it's an ongoing investigation, so I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it anyways.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
Late at night.
Oh, late at night.
If I was to be a gambling man, which I am, I would bet it's a dope deal gone wrong.
Yeah.
Why else would two people meet in a dark parking lot in the middle of the night shooting at each other? So I don't know, and even though I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you, it's so new and fresh. Burglaries are about the same. Photo thefts are down significantly, which makes me think we arrested the right guy somewhere along the line, and he's in jail. Because we had a significant increase over the last couple of months of burglaries. I have Jody Hobbs, who is one of our crime analysis lady, who puts out information to us as is the deputies. For the first half of the month, I have there was a 10800 block of 16th Avenue Southwest. There was a person with a weapon. It was a bunch of gangsters with guns, and they actually got caught and arrested, and guns were taken. On and 16th, there was another unlawful possession of a firearm. Again, the guy was arrested, booked, and the gun was taken. Another one on First Avenue and 14th Avenue.
So Bill,
I
do
think
you
we're cheap.
have any idea, are these local kids? Is it
Yeah,
local-
pretty much.
They're local, they're from one community, but.
This area from, Delridge to Burien, South Park, even, some of them are as far away as Triple but not so much. Again, a lot of them don't live here, but this is the middle. And we have discussed Hispanic gangs before, we were fighting these two gangs, one's in South Park, one's in Burien. And Seattle is having a problem with some of their black gang, their gangs are fighting, and that's like the shooting at the Pollard, stuff like that. It's all gang related. So the things on here to bring up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was a robbery, but it wasn't any firearms. The other ones were all firearms related. I'm gonna get on my soapbox. This is an opinion, all right? I always temper everything like this. Department policy and the law, and it's Bill Kenner's opinion, being a cop for 21 years and being 51 years old. Our problem with firearms can't be sold by the Senate. It's already illegal for these guys to have guns. What do? We have to decide as a society what we're gonna do, right? But they're already illegal guns. Most of them are stolen guns, because they can't buy guns, so they gotta steal guns or buy stolen guns. I don't know how, I can't answer that.
There's been a lot of state stolen guns too, like, that was my theory, is that between the Home State Hammett that was distributing them, up in International District or somewhere over there, plus all of there was 2 gun robbery stores that were robbed.
Guns are one of the number one things steal.
Right, so it's just sort
They'll
of.
take it over anything.
Well, the dirty little secret about the fight against gun control is that it benefits the gun manufacturers, because people get the
Mad.
message that you need a gun to stop a gun, and then you lose a gun, and you gotta get another gun, and, that just makes more guns out in the criminals' hands, which then leads to more gun sales.
I don't understand.
It's not very hard.
Well,
But
that is a very controversial thing that I'm not gonna get into.
I got you.
I don't understand this. My mother was a foster parent for kids that come out of the justice system, okay? And the first thing I learned is, you're gonna hold up a liquor store, make sure you don't hold the gun, because it's automatically a 7-year sentence.
That is absolutely not true. I have personal first-hand knowledge of arrested kids with guns multiple times.
But that was back in the
One kid with an AK-47 in a backpack.
I know.
Alright, we've decided, again, my opinion is, we have decided by electing officials that we're not gonna arrest people for drug crimes or low-level fruit crimes. Like, so now, the bad guys aren't afraid of the cops. They are absolutely not afraid of the cops anymore. Arrested a guy yesterday for stealing a phone at the library, $1,000 iPhone, stole it, we caught it, he had the phone, we rang it rang, boom. Locked, shut case. He was out before I got to work this morning.
Yep.
That's up to the senator. We got a couple of problem properties, the one on 13th that everybody, I think, is aware about, and the place on 17th that Gil keeps reminding me about. The one on 17th I'll talk about, because we we're doing, it's going to be solved. With the local services, new local services department, Bong's Crowd, and us, we have, got a hold of the dude who owns the place. I spent an hour with him at the place yesterday, which was the first time he's seen it. He lives in Arizona, he bought it, he's actually a local dude from West Seattle, but moved to Arizona, has been down there, and but what he does for a living is flip dilapidated property.
Is that the old Atlas meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is as horrible as you could think. It is horrible. I talked to him yesterday, he says, and he already has arranged, well, he tried to arrange to get the 2 vans and a motorhome towed out of there.
That's gonna be a real problem.
Well, that's, he called Stans, and Stan says, I don't have a truck big enough. And it's gonna cost him a lot of money to do. But he said, I'm ready to pay the money, I gotta get, if he gets rid of those, that's step 1. Step 2 is a couple of industrial dumpsters, but he said he's already got a tenant lined up
For what?
for the building.
No, but I mean, to do what? What kind of?
It's gonna be a restaurant.
Oh, so it's a positive because he's improving the front.
Hopefully.
Oh, he's gonna spend a ton of money on it.
Yeah.
No more tear down to the studs and.
I don't know exactly what he's gonna do, I don't know what he has to do. I've been inside the building, it is gross.
Yeah.
The guy who owned it has owned it for about 110 years, and he hasn't moved 1 bag of garbage out of that building in the last 30 years. It is quarter filled, and now it's quarter filled with homeless people. No, I don't know, I don't think so.
The reason I said, you know, because of the other property, the Blue Grouse that's in Hampton.
Blue Grouse, I think, is ready to open.
Well, because the problem is that they.
Next to the dental office.
Party thing going on there. I live several blocks away, Rebecca lives right behind us, but I heard that music was really loud there at my house, and there's all houses that.
I just sent Hugo
Please,
that.
hold on, guys, hey, everybody. Almost done.
I sent, Hugo an email, he asked me to send top things of what I think that they can do to help us. One of them is the noise ordinance. King County's noise ordinance is archaic and unenforceable.
Although it was recently updated. and
It's still, it's still, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody in this country has a noise ordinance, so we could use, Burien has a noise ordinance, Seattle has a noise ordinance. They just have to look into to get the nuts and bolts fixed. Until that is.
Well, but I know, like with Big Al's Brewery, which is now Primitive Brewing, when they had music before Unity Village was built there, when they had music outside, once Unity Village came in, they had to stop their music because of the complaints from Unity Village. And so they don't have outdoor music, so I don't understand how businesses that are back up to people's backyards right there will be allowed to have, you know.
Absolutely, but that's gonna be a code enforcement. And I hate to say just pass the buck, right? Because in the middle of the night, there's no code enforcement phone number that you gotta call 911 and say, hey, these guys are keeping me awake. And it's gonna be probably painful at the beginning. And it's archaic, the noise ordinance.
So last time I checked into it, you actually have to have someone come out with a meter that has been properly adjusted and it's proved at that particular moment that this is the level.
That was,
That has to-
exactly it.
and-
I've never even seen one of those things,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know who that guy is who's got one, who comes
Well,
up.
I think it has more to do with zoning there than, you know, particular noise ordinance, because it's
Or it could be
backing,
anywhere, it could be anywhere in the county.
but it's backing up like
nothing-
people's
has nothing to do with it.
backyards there.
Sorry.
I don't
this is what I'm noticing more and more, and the property crime is going up. I'm noticing more and more people with vans and cars living on the streets of White Center. And as a board, why haven't you confronted the King County Council to put signs up saying, especially in the business district, no more 24-hour parking? Because you don't stop it now, we're going to get the Seattle problem.
I can tell you, I am ruthless. I enforce, there is no stag camping in White Center, in unincorporated King County in precinct 4.
Okay, thank you.
There is none. There's nowhere you're legally allowed to do it. Somebody's sleeping in the car, I can tag the car and they got 24 hours to move.
Good, okay, yeah.
And I have a stack tag in my car and I tag them. I don't solve the problem, I move the problem. That's all I'm doing is squeezing the balloon.
I got 3 to move.
I always push them north because my fellow deputies work south. The Seattle pushes them south. So we're just moving, we're not solving. I had a young lady in a car the other day, I referred to Mary's place. I hope she went, I don't know if she went. In the history of the world, since we're a cosmic goo, there's never been anywhere easier to get services than Seattle, Washington, 2019, right? 100 years ago, you would have been dead in the gutter. 1,000 years ago, you would have made it, right? So it's not easy, and they're not gonna come give it to you, you gotta go get it. But it's there, especially for a female.
I'm not against homeless people, I've been there, I've done it. But these are the chronic homeless people that have been living in their vehicles for, you could tell, for years. And they're the ones that I've got that iffy feeling about, because like you say, property crime goes up, then there's what's going on in the community. And being a resident here, seems like White Center has got that horrible tag making on it. And I'm trying to make it a nice community, they're welcome, but they also have to follow the rules.
It's just a lot better than it used to be.
And it's not White Center, just White Center, it's everywhere. And I really think we are better off than the two cities with the city on the south and the city on the north. And that's because we have a different government system, right? City whole at both ends have decided that they're not going to let the police enforce.
Well, I think Seattle's started to change their tune a little bit by appearances anyway. I guess the question is, and it's because I believe the political, class in Seattle is feeling the heat, but I'm wondering if that is true in King County now. That's what I mean, that's what I mean.
I have been told by the elected sheriff and the last sheriff, both of them told me to, and maybe ruthless is not the word, it should be. I aggressively enforce the law, and it's against the law.
Right.
And they're going to the bathroom outside of their cars, they're dumping their garbage outside, and I tell a lot of the people I find camping, like, if you didn't make a mess, I wouldn't know you were here. But now that I know you're here, I'm going to enforce the camping ordinance. Don't make a mess. I'll be sneaky.
Not notice you, yeah.
If I don't know you're there, I can't kick you out. And I don't really. Was this bring up something else?
No. Bill and I are working on community-wide issues, but it's actually out there all the time. So when you guys, somebody asked about the homeless or the campers and all that stuff, it's not only in White Center, it's throughout the whole country that we're seeing that. We kind of get to try and localize it to his efforts and the rest of our deputies, but it's not, so it's, hey, move, right? Like on Myers Way, they were moved to Seattle. And then maybe a week later, they'll come back again, because they know they're allowed to keep moving back and forth. So, but anyway, that's a different, too bad our center is gone, we could have addressed that. But briefly, I know we gotta take off here soon, talking about those wonderful,
Roundabouts?
roundabouts that you so love so much, right? Yeah, all right. So, our roads is actually in our department, local services.
Metro's not, unfortunately.
Metro is its separate department now. So, we are actually working with Metro to find a fix for those two right now as we, they're working on it now. All
That's
right?
why there's
So-
been changing information when people call, cause there's
Yeah.
different ideas on how to go about it.
Exactly, like, but the Metro buses are allowed and legally allowed to go over those.
Right,
roads,
that's
right?
what they're designed for.
Yeah, but, the drivers just, well, the passengers are kind of tossed around, when they do that, so.
There's a speed limit?
It's not cool, so.
Yeah, they gotta figure out how to make the road work for the passenger.
Well,
Yes.
I have been at meetings right here in this room where people were going bananas because of the traffic on that road.
Yeah, I know.
We've all been here, we remember the guy who
Now we
was
don't
really
know.
passionate
Yeah.
about it. Fist fighting passionate about it. And there's no speeding on that road anymore, I can tell you that, because you hit that curve, going too
Well, there
fast,
is.
you're gonna bust the
There is
tire.
There is, but they're taking out fences as they.
Yeah.
They only do it once. It's slow down traffic.
You obviously underestimate the number of knuckleheads that are drivers there are.
But if you guys have any more, ideas, like I heard the short buses, I don't know about widening the street, that.
Access buses.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking, but something
But
like that.
we do have a website, so
Okay.
ask
Feedback.
local services at kingcounty.gov.
Local service.
That's a what?
Or address, email address.
That's our email address,
And what's it again?
ask local
Ask
services
local service.
at kingcounty.gov, and we will respond. That is always
And
that.
Don,
Yes.
when is the, CSA meeting going to happen for this community?
For this community, I believe it's not till September. Yeah, the first meeting that's happening here in July is about the comp plan.
Yeah.
We're doing one.
Yeah.
And so when is that gonna be noted for people,
We're preparing all the particulars now.
okay?
You know, it's kinda hard to find the kids the date.
And but how is the information gonna be disseminated so that we know when these meetings are happening?
All of our known web lists, because we've amassed a lot of, you guys' email, social media, it will be promoted in the local, press.
Is there a local services Facebook page, for example?
Yes.
There
we do.
is.
We do.
And
also
Instagram
Twitter.
account.
Yeah.
And are you working with roads too?
Rose is, one of the big departments or divisions of under our
What's
department.
going on between, I mean, in Short, all of Fourth Avenue between Roxbury and 102nd?
That's Greenbridge.
That's a Greenbridge complex,
Zigzags,
and
yeah.
that's
It's
funded
Greenbridge.
by the federal and state.
Well, the road got tore up because they had to extend sewer.
They have to do the utilities,
All the utilities.
but a lot of those utilities were already in there.
What's the point? They may have to revise the rating.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
building
it's
a
gonna be a
highway
massive
there.
complex, I mean,
Oh, yeah, but I was just wondering why they didn't just put a regular sidewalk in like it was before.
oh, I guarantee they're gonna.
It's still Greenbridge. It's still Greenbridge.
Oh, I just call it, yeah, that's that road this week, it looked like a bunch of, you know, parking.
They'll
Check
be,
with Flight Center now, going
it'll have ADA approved sidewalks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what about the White Center, block watch meeting, where's that, when's that?
Yeah. I got it right here, I think it's Thursday at 6:30 at the library. Let me check.
Which
Maybe it's
library?
Wednesday, I gotta check.
It's Thursday.
I'm gonna check
Okay.
Christina's, email right here.
Let's go to the emails now.
Oh, I got it, it's right here. 19th. is Thursday, June 13th, 6:30 to 7:30. And that is gonna be at the community room at the White Center Library.
Okay, short plug, Friday, at the log cabin, we have the employment, fair for youth 16 to
Tomorrow.
24.
Tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow, Friday?
Yeah.
I thought it was only Friday, bro. Okay, so anyway, yeah, from 2:30 to 5-ish.
Yeah.
So if you have grandkids, daughters, sons, you know, in high school. I thought I'd put a plug on, Parks Department, so. Anyway, so that's Friday. All right? All right, thank you guys.
Can someone put it on next door maybe, or, thank you.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that's
real
what-
quick,
Okay, that'd be great, we could share it.
Yeah, I'm done.
thank you, Bill. Really quick, we are not gonna have NUAC meetings in July or August, okay, it's summertime, but we hope to see that Jubilee Days, the third weekend in July, okay? Anyone have any public announcements, we're gonna be ordered. Stop.
I'd just like to tell everybody, since we don't have any more meetings, at Jubilee Days on Saturday, at the Eagles, 7:30 a.m. to noon is our pancake breakfast where we get most of our funds. It's the White Center Kiwanis Club. And pancake breakfast will be at the Eagles Club. And there's a raffle there with some empty baskets as well. And it's like $9 a ticket, or 7 ahead of time, but I don't have any with me.
That's okay, it's always good.
And, just a plug for us, a lot of the volunteer hours at White Center Food Bank came from the 2 tea clubs we sponsor at Green and they also, some of those, especially the New Star kids, have asked and done the trip through the line to get food at the end of being there.
Oh, no, that's great. Thank you very much.
I've got some flyers up here I'll leave on the table. I'm gonna grab one to remind
Food's
you.
really good and have it.
Remind you of
Anyone else? Well, then I guess this meeting is adjourned. Have a good summer, everybody. Thank you.